welcome back to the Unleashing. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. I got a comment from one of you guys, and I was talking about Trump's newest briefing that he had pastors and stuff around him, all the guys that have been around him the whole time, you know, the ones that I've been harping on that are phonies, and they were talking about how, from what they can tell, the rapture is years off, 16 years. Don't even worry about it now. Go back to your business, right? Which is the whole point of the Trump thing, is to lower guards and get back into the world and not clean it up when we're here at the finish line. And it's a gigantic distraction. But one of you got disheartened, and we're in a war, and that's the honest truth. We have been in a war, and you step foot onto that battlefield. The moment that you become a Christian, you ask Jesus in your heart. And if you're not trained up, then it can be overwhelming at times, absolutely. And, it can be disheartening at times, but you get back up and you keep on fighting. And we're in this, and there is a point to all this and what I'm doing, but I'm going to get to that. Well, when it comes to it, the real question is,
what does your heart tell you?
because it tells me that Jesus is about to return. It is so close. It is right at the door, and we can feel it in us. So I really don't give a crap what Jimmy John, pastor, and his whole entourage of other pastors say, because they have no idea what they're talking about. They're all absolute phonies. And it's something that I want to get into right from the start. You guys have heard me hammer Church 2, the building. This was never, ever intended to be the Christian walk or the way. We were not designed to go into pews and sit down and listen to a man talk to us once a week, and that being the extent of our relationship with Jesus Christ. It was never meant to be like that. That is totally phony, and it's reminiscent of our escape from Roman Catholicism when Martin Luther broke out of it, and we're still dealing with it. You telling me that a man in the olden days who couldn't make it to town but was out as a farmer and read the Bible himself and never went to a church building isn't saved? If he knows Jesus Christ, he absolutely is, and he probably has a closer walk than the people that go once a week, all right? It's a daily walk that we do and that we take, all right? And it is a war zone out there, all right? It's one thing to be saved and have that walk, but that's not where it stops. Every single one of us is called to that battlefield to be witnesses and lights, to be the salt of the earth, and to try and bring others to Jesus Christ and know the truth. We're all warriors, and I've said it 1,000 times. We are weapons. You are a weapon, and it is your prestige. It is the ultimate. It is the ultimate to represent the King of Kings and be the best for him and be the best weapon you can be in every single thing that you do. Whenever you go somewhere, you should absolutely, when you step into a place, be like, boom, and you leave an example. And when you walk out and they ask you your name,
I'll remember the name.
It will stay with them forever. Okay? That's a representation that we have and we do as Christians. It's always the highest of standards. I mean, you don't take it that way, okay? And it's frustrating, and that's kind of why I'm doing this. I don't plan on doing this forever. God asked me to do this in 2016 or whenever it was, and I didn't really want to do it. I know the comments and the things I have to deal with, and I got a bit of a temper as it is because I like to fight. And when somebody's out of the reach of my hand where I can grab them, it's frustrating when they're just barking tough talk on the internet, And I didn't really want to do it, but, I was like, I figured this out. God, they should be able to. It's all lining up. It's getting close. He's like, no, Jared, you need to talk to him. I'm like, all right, and here we are right now, and that's exactly what I'm doing. But this isn't designed to be like this forever. We're working towards something here, and I know that I am. Why I discuss so many different things is I'm trying to leave a trail here through a storm, a cement bridge that when the waters of the world come on and you don't know which way is up or down, if you happen to be left behind, that you will have a steady platform that you can grab onto and be like, this guy was raptured out of here. This is what he taught. This is what he said. I can at least look at this as an example because I know that he made it. And there's this cushion feeling that we have now that, we don't have to worry about it and stuff like that. And you might not take it seriously because, if you did miss the rapture, hey, you got the second chance where you can do it in the tribulation. Thing is when you get to that situation, you're going to be like, if I mess this up now, and now that I know that it's real, I could find myself in the lake of fire for all of time. I have to get this serious. The threat will become so real. And you can skip all that, just by walking with God right now. But there's a number of things that I kind of want to talk on here, and the real message is it's taking the power back from the lie that has been put on us for so long that we are to go once a week on Sunday, listen to a pastor preach, and that is to be the extent of our relationship with God. All right. You guys have seen all the things that I teach on and the areas that I cover, and I'm happy to talk about all of them. But where do you guys think I learned this from? I've said it before. Where do you think that I learned this from? It sure as heck was not in a pew listening to a preacher, all right? They don't know anything, okay? They go to college. They learn how to make money in an operation, all right, through tithing and other nonsense, which it was never meant to be. And then they go out and they go to these seminaries, and if you're not qualified or in with their in crowd, then they don't want you talking or telling anybody about it. And I'm breaking the rules right now by doing this, and I really could care less because I know what it's like to walk with God, and I know the purpose, and this is what we're all supposed to be doing. I don't want people looking up to me, ever. I'm trying to point you back to God, that with the relationship that you can have with Him, that Jesus died and gave to us. He literally opened the door so that there was no need for temples or that because God doesn't dwell in temples made by man, these buildings, all right? And this whole system, it's all phony. He dwells in us. We are the church. We're the called out ones. And the building and all that stuff, it was done away with. There's no need for it. We can go straight to the Father through Jesus Christ, and we can all have that personal relationship. When I'm out in the battlefield, and I'm fighting against the world like I have been, I don't want people standing behind me go, what do I do next? I want those people standing beside me going, I'll take this way, I can be better effective from this angle, and I'll do this, I know I can handle this area better. And they split off, they're in their own area, and we're all fighting, even though we're worlds apart. So this is really the point of it. I'm trying to teach you some things, and be a teacher. And this is the example that I'm trying to give here. It's not to be looked up to or to preach forever. It's to create warriors, human weapons, in spirit and physical, so that they can go out there and they can teach others and continue on and spread and get it out there, because we don't have that much time left. We really don't. We're at the end of this thing. And, so much time has been wasted as it is. Years and years of people not doing anything, and the Christian laziness that is taken over in this lukewarmness and Laodicean end times, it's terrible. They can't do anything. They can't have a conversation. They don't know how to answer the questions. They get beat up constantly. And I'm trying to give you the power back. I'm trying to let you know that you can fight. You can stand up, all right? And it goes from being beat up to something that you're standing tall at the end of it, and you leave them wondering like, oh, maybe I'm believing the wrong thing here because this guy seems to know exactly what he's talking about, all right? The pastoral system that we have now, and this isn't speaking of the very few that are good and doing the right thing to an extent. I don't really agree with the whole building. I think the gathering can be done anywhere, and, but it's a personal relationship, and that's been taken away to what we do once a week where you go in there and you go through a curriculum. Well, first we'll do this singing, and there'll be a little bit of studying, and don't forget the tithes and plate offerings. And it's been turned into a complete money-making operation, and it was never meant to be that in the first place. Tithes were done away with. I've said it before. Every single verse that you can find in the Bible has to do with tithing. It's all, it was for the Levites. To take care of the temple, and it was food and spices, every single one you can find. And by honoring that, God would bless them with more food and crops. Never had anything to do with money. There was no crossover ever. And they try to use Melchizedek and stuff like that. Well, after Abraham gets his money, he gives the 10% to Melchizedek. He gives the 90% back to Sodom, okay? What would they have you do? Give 100% of your money to the just out? I mean, you wouldn't even be able to live that way. The whole thing was done away with. It wasn't asked for. And when we look at the New Testament in Acts, when they try to put these rules on the Gentiles, they're like, whoa. We couldn't even adhere to that. It was to bring us to the teacher, and now through him, we have our freedom, stay away from things offered to idols, food strangled, drinking blood, and fornication. Stay away from that and you'll do good. That's it. That's the rules, all right? There is no adding on with tithing. You'll be doing this. You're free to give to anybody you want. And it's not to a building. It's to those that would help, or maybe a way to minister and share a funding that would help somebody if they're going out to a place and they need it to give to or to teach the Word of God. It doesn't have anything to do with making money or anything like that. That's complete nonsense. And they've been robbing people for years, absolutely years. The prosperity gospel and what we have now is just destroyed. It's destroyed the whole look of the church, and it's turned into something that's absolutely disgusting. And it really is the same thing that Jesus was fighting back then. The same people that the religious nonsense of the Pharisees that Jesus had such a hard time and was dealing with back then, we're dealing with now, and it's coming from the religious Pharisees at the top and what they're doing, and they're not walking with God. It's a money-making operation. A lot of them don't even believe in it. It's like, I just teach it because it's safe. They want to be able to work a regular day. So they get money from people, okay? And they've missed the whole point of being a leader. And, and Jesus nails it right here when he says, it's in Luke 22, so let's start with verse 25. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they exercise authority upon them that are called benefactors. And then verse 26, but ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as he that does serve. All right? And it's the point of leadership that, you're not to stand at the top where others are serving you. The better you are, the more you can help others, all right? It's selfless. That is the walk of being a Christian. It's totally selfless. It's honorable. And they've completely lost sight of that altogether. And what they've done, they just take and take and take. And like I say, they go into these colleges for 4 years or whatever, and they come out and they're taught to make money, and they get into a church that they start up, and it's part of an organization, and you get your curriculum from the top, and you pay your dues into it like a union, basically. And where was this taught in any of it? We're to go out individually into the world and spread the gospel and the truth. And you're going to come against conflict, and that's why you need to be armored up with knowledge and warfare to be able to fight it. All right? What has happened is absolutely disgusting, and not to mention the Illuminati that has infiltrated the top where they get their curriculum from, so they don't teach on certain things, or they twist other things, like in Romans where you need to be listening to your government. That was set up for a godly government that walks with God, not ones that worship Lucifer, all right? So when they say you need to absolutely listen to the government and they're worshiping Lucifer, tell me, where do you draw your line? All right, mine was drawn a long time ago when I knew they were a bunch of Satan worshipers. Do I follow the law? Yeah, to the extent to keep others safe, like speed limits and stuff like that, when others are around. But there's other things, and if they were to ever ask me to do one that was wrong or goes against the moral code or what's in the Bible, you absolutely, as a responsibility of a Christian, to turn that down and say no, absolutely not, and you just stick with that. So it really is, it's disgusting. But they've stolen the power that belongs to you, and that is that through Jesus Christ you can do all things. And we're to go out there and fight, and they've taken this away and left you helpless with no information. The only thing you learn about is the simple things out of the Bible that you can read yourself, and you should be. If you're listening to me and you haven't been reading the Bible at least a couple chapters, one chapter at least a day, to keep it going, and keep going through it. Read the whole thing, all right? Then you're missing the whole point. You're coming back. You're relying on me to teach you, and you're failing the whole point of what I'm trying to do here, which is to hand you over, all right, to train you, to teach you knowledge so that when you talk to others that don't know, you will have the firepower to fight back, okay? And it will go from looking like this.
Now get up.
To looking like this.
The one.
Okay? You'll get hit with different things at first, and they'll be hammering on you, you know, and you don't have the answer. But every fight you'll get more, and you keep studying, all right? And you know, they'll ask you questions. Well, I don't believe that the Earth is that young. I mean, we have carbon dating and this and that, and all these things, right? And you'll be able to pick these apart, and you'll be like, well, we can check the magnetic field of the Earth, and we have a constant rate at this thing that it's decreasing at. If you even go back 50,000 years, it's too powerful. It would kill all life on the planet, all right? And they might want to argue with that because that's one thing. So you can tell them again, we know that the sun loses a diameter about 5 miles every year from the burn-off rate from it. You can't go back that far. Even if we went back to 20 million years and you guys need billions for the whole evolution thing to take place, that would be over the distance we are from the sun, being at 92 million miles, all right? We'd be in it. How far could we go back in the first place, all right? And you keep talking until there's like, wow, there's something to this. When was the last time we doubled since 1965, from where we are now at 7.4 billion, and we were at 3.5 billion, okay? You go back to the 1900s, we're around 1 billion. You go back to the time of Jesus, this is only 2,000 years ago. You're at 200 million worldwide. These are numbers that people can find and know about, all right? So you're not tricking anybody, you're just telling them the truth, all right? 200 million worldwide population. And we have 2,000 years before that, up to the time of Jesus, that we go back where 8 people get off the ark. These numbers match up. If it was where they started without what they teach, we would be at like 6 people per square inch on the planet. It's absolutely impossible with what's happening. I mean, there is one thing after another that you can learn and use, and these are weapons to fight back against the world and be like, no, what I'm saying does make sense. I not only have faith in Jesus that he's real, but I also have evidence scientifically that these things are real and have been taking place. And this is your firepower to fight back with. You don't learn this kind of stuff when you're just sitting in the pew and the preacher's talking. This is extracurricular stuff, and you might be able to still go, but you have to discern when it's time, when you're not getting anything out of it, you know? And it's not a once-a-week thing. It's a daily walk that we take with Jesus. Every day we wake up and we walk with him closer, and we're in the fight our entire lives. It's not something to take lightly, and if you do, you're going to get beat up, and you're going to get spewed out, okay? And I don't want that for anybody. I want you to be able to go out there and be able to stand your ground against the world and the armies of hell, all right? Because that's how you're going to be the most useful. And we might not be able to stand next to each other right now, but someday, when we're riding back to Armageddon with Jesus, we will be able to look at each other side by side, and you're going to be lethal, okay? So it's very important. Some of you that are older, you might think that, you know, you can't do anything, you don't know how to be a weapon or get out there, and you don't realize how important that you are. Everybody has their place. And in the way you look on a battlefield, somebody might be a master of bow, a master swordsman, good with a warhammer, good with a 6-shooter, all right? And the point is that we all have a place, and part that we can play is all we have to do is ask Jesus, and he will put us in the right place. Yeah, I might be good with a sword, and an older man might be good with a six-shooter. Have you guys ever seen the guy that shoots dimes out of the sky? That's an old man. He's super fast. It's amazing, right? And how would this look in a real-world situation? I go into to a restaurant, and there are cooks in there, and maybe I want to talk to him, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with what I have to say about Jesus, all right? He's completely thrown his, hey, I don't want to have anything to do with this guy. Looks like a punk anyways. Who does he think he is with his haircut all, short like that? All right? And I get out of there. I don't have a place in there. But let's say an old person can go in there, and that cook, Slow Day, is he's sitting there and he's cooking. He's thinking about his grandpa that passed away, and he wishes he's still there, and it's like, man, I'd love to be able to talk to him. And he goes out to pour some coffee, and the old guy, you sit down at the counter and you start talking to him, and hey, I just want you to know, I went through your time when I was younger, and some hard times. Something I wish I would have known a lot sooner is Jesus is real, and he's coming back, and he has a place for you, and he cares for you, and you should take it seriously because he wants you to. And you just broken ground that would have been impossible for me. And because he's thinking about his grandpa and he has a soft spot for him as it is, you might have just got through to that guy and planted a seed in his heart where he's like, you know what? Maybe I should take this whole Jesus thing serious. I'm gonna look into it because that's really awesome that guy said that to me. Nobody's ever talked to me like that before. You see how that works? All right, you're not useless or anything of the sort, right? Every single person has a part to play, and God will put you. You just pray and you ask, and He'll put you in the place. And I'm not talking about being out on the corner yelling with a street sign going, "The end of the world's coming! The end of the world's coming!" That scares people off. I'm talking about being what Jesus taught. Being wise as serpents, gentle as doves. There's a certain strategy to the whole thing, and use it. Look. Don't throw your pearls before swine, all right? You can tell most of the time. But look wisely at these people, at somebody that maybe you care about or something like that. Would they be open to this? And then if you are, poke around. Feel it out, And if there is, then you plant that seed. And we can all do it. And yeah, it might be scary at first, all right? But that's the difference. That's what courage is. It's, when you face something scary, and we all do, it's what you do during that when you're scared that makes all the difference in the world. So, do it. And we're at the end right here. That one seed, it could save somebody's life, and that's so important. What you guys don't realize is that, in this whole thing, we are, what we do, in life, it echoes in eternity. What Russell Crowe said in Gladiator, and it's true because we don't know yet exactly what's going to happen at this Bema Seat judgment and the things that we've done and stuff like that. And it says that even if you're saved and it gets tried by fire, maybe you don't get anything, but you come out the other side and you're still saved. You get to be in heaven. But what happens if you ever thought about this? If this turns into some ranking system of some kind, right? Do you want to be PVT, that's private Duffy for all of eternity because you didn't do anything at all? Come in as a sergeant or as a captain, a colonel or something by getting out there and fighting for these people. And you can do it starting in your home, all right, with loved ones, planning different things, all right? It's just as important. If you can't get them now, if you can leave the right seeds that they can find you during the tribulation, that's just as important too, right? All of it is. We're running out of time. And those fake, phony pastors that are just constantly, spewing what they want that have to do with money. Every single one of them around Trump, I've already pointed out, they're total phonies. None of them are real. Mark Taylor, the whole goon squad of Paula White and all of them, they're all the prosperity gospel teachers. They're all phony. They teach their own false gospel, all right? I've heard them all talk about how Adam breathed life into the animals and how we're gods and stuff like that. No. When you're a Christian, you're a child of the Most High, but we're not gods. Nobody is responsible enough to have that authority except for God himself. He's the only one worthy, all right? But just being in the family is definitely important enough, and it's very special, right? What they're trying to do is going back to the garden, that you should be as gods, and they're pushing the same lie that's been there from Satan the whole time, and it's totally deceiving, and they've used it to try to build their authority in this kingdom on earth with money and riches, and they have no part in the kingdom of heaven. It's all a deception. They will literally stand before God and he'll say, "Get away from me, you workers of iniquity, for I never knew you," all right? They have no feel. They don't have the Holy Spirit flowing through them like you guys do, where you can feel the approach of Jesus. They're total charlatans, all right? Don't let it discourage you, okay? Like I said, we are absolutely in a war, and it's for the very souls of mankind. And if you're just listening to me talk and you're not executing and training up and listening to what I have to say so that you can go out there and fight, you're not doing anything. I'm not your preacher. I'm just a teacher and a friend. I'm a brother in Christ, and I want to look across at you. The whole pastor-teacher thing, let me tell you a story. I was going to be a personal trainer. I went through all the stuff and everything like that. And I went into the office to talk to him. And they asked me, what did I want out of all this? And I was like, well, to teach these people so they can work out, and be healthy and fit and be able to do it themselves. What are you going to do to keep them coming? And I'm like, well, I'm not. If they're more than welcome to use me to train anytime they want, but I want to teach them how they can do it the right way and be self-sufficient so that they don't need to come to me anymore and use that money. They can use it on other things, and they can enjoy the gym, having the knowledge and what to do themselves, to be trained up. They didn't like that, all right? And that's exactly what pastors do. They keep you coming in so that it's a constant money flow, all right? And what happens is that you just get stuck in the middle of it, and you're never progressing at all, and you're never really growing at all either. It's just you're constantly there, and that's why when I talk to people, it's like, why do I feel like my chest is on fire? This is all the things that I've wanted to know about but never did, and they never answered at church because they don't even know. They're in the business of making money and nothing more. All right, and you're whelps. They create whelps that don't know anything about combat and fighting the real world. They can't answer the real questions or anything like that, and they act like they do, but they just get their curriculum from the top, right? They barely read it themselves. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of them haven't even read the whole thing. It's ridiculous, okay? So it's absolutely important to take what you learn from this channel and to use it, all right? And don't be afraid to ask questions, stuff like that. We're doing it. But what we're going to be looking at here is a situation where each time you come back, the questions get fewer and fewer until you're not looking to me as a teacher anymore, but just a fellow brother and warrior in Christ. And we're out there doing it. And the only reason you'd be watching my channel is just for the joy of listening to another brother talk about the return of Jesus and how great he is, and maybe just pick up a little thing here or there, And but you're out there, you're fighting the war, and that's exactly what we're in. We're in an absolute war, right? And, they've used you to make money the whole time. And that's all it is. It's a money-making organization, right? And I know there's probably something else you guys are thinking. Yeah, well, what about our kids? Preachers taking all they got, too.
And by God, we take it back.
All right? It's the same. They'll go for them. I've been to these churches, and they got the kids in the back, and they're just playing video games and stuff. They're not learning anything. They don't know anything. They're just keeping them fun and excited, and they're like, "Oh, Mom, Dad, let's go back. That was really fun." But what do they know about Jesus, all right? You can skip all that and teach your kids at your house, even if you do it once a week, where you open up the Bible and you read for about half an hour. Let them ask you questions, and you teach it yourself if you don't know it. That's why you're watching this, so you can teach them more stuff, and you can get into the important conversations they might have, all right? It's the families that just put their head in the sand and be like, no, don't look at that, don't ask about it or anything like that, that end up having kids that are Christians that they want the best for, and they come back, oh, Mom, I went to public school, I met these really great friends, they taught me about the joys of meth, all right? And it's like, they won't answer it, whereas if you actually talk to your kids, tell them the war that they're going to be in, what they're going to have to deal with, strategize with them, you can train them into these kinds of things, and so many parents don't do that, they just let it go. So, the kids, the world, they're after them. All right, it's dangerous out there. It's a war, and they'll take their very lives. They don't care. It's so dangerous. So it is serious, and that's why you guys have to know this stuff, okay? And especially in the time that we're in, the deception is coming on so strong every single day. I've told you guys about flat Earth before and the nonsense. This morning I got a comment this morning from somebody. It's like, a glober that says he's a Christian. Oh, there's an oxymoron, all right? And what did that guy just say in that statement? Exactly what I've been pointing the whole time. It's his own doctrine and religion. He just pointed out that I can't be a Christian if I believe in a globe Earth. I have to believe in a flat Earth. It's its own religion. It's its own cult movement, okay? It's very deadly. Stay away from it. If any of you are even borderline thinking about it, what you have is what I've been saying the whole time. One problem leads to another. You fix that problem, you fix two things at once. You are on the border with some sort of religious doctrine that is false, all right? And it is allowing you to slip into this, all right? Because if you can think clearly, you would know very well that the flat earth movement is absolute nonsense, all right? And to stay away from the dangers of it is all you have to do is take a look at the people that are teaching it, right? They're part of the world, they're with Satanists. I had a couple people that left comments that got out of it. The first ones I heard of that got out of it. And they said the same thing. Yes, it was very occultic, and we found out Rob Skiba was friends with Satanists, all right? And the other guy that was teaching it was pushing people away from being Christians, right? It's very dangerous, and it's just like I was telling you, and I was told by the Holy Spirit that they're under a strong delusion, and it's a curse, okay? So be very careful with this kind of stuff. There's so many things that people are getting wrapped into now, and the best thing that you can have is the Bible in front of you and read and know the whole thing like the back of your hand, because that trains up a warrior. So when these fiery darts come at you, you can stop them in their tracks, okay? And that's what you want to do. And each time you get better and better and better until it's just like it's the back of your hand, you know it. And it's so easy to fight them when they come against you, and they don't stand a chance, all right? You are the perfect weapon. And those are the kind of people that I want to fight with out there, all right? They want to lead people to Christ, because that is what legends are made of, all right? And each one of you has that potential, okay? You always have. You were born to be great, and with Jesus Christ, you can accomplish all these things. They want to keep you prison, all right? Restrained. Unleash yourself, know the truth, and fight back, okay? Get out of the pews. I got into a discussion with my aunt and uncle, and I love them dearly, but they were talking about the church, and one of the pastors came into their Assembly of God, and, he was stealing money, and so they waited for another one, and they just kept praying for a teacher to come along. And he came in there, and all he did was teach tithing every single week, and he was just taking the money, and then he got into affairs, and then he stole some more from the church, and they just can't get the right guy to teach him. What are you doing being taught like that in the first place? You have the power in your hand, right in your very hand. All right? It's been given to us so that we can learn ourselves, and they love listening to me talk. They do. I mean, most people do. It's great to hear about the Word of God. I did not learn this from church. I learned this from God Himself. He pulled me out in 2013 when I said I wanted to be closer to Him, and I was expecting to do more church service. He pulled me completely out, and I'll never look back. When you take that close walk with God, there is no looking back. To be able to go personally to Him and talk is what I want for all of you to be able to do, and you can. All right? And when you start off, He takes it easier on you, all right? The tests aren't as hard. He will answer you quicker. And then you get up to my place where it takes longer, right? And you have to use more faith. It's a growing thing, but you're being created. You're becoming more powerful the whole time, all right? You're getting dangerous, and that's what I want for you, all right? That's the important of all this and why I'm teaching you this stuff, right? And I want you to do it and take it seriously. And some of you are. Some of you are out there fighting. And I already hear how you guys are leaving messages and things like that. That's exactly what I want to hear. Keep getting better. Keep getting better, right? Don't just come to me with questions like, I watched the two witnesses, and it moved the colors and the music. It was just so great. Yeah, you should really check it out. The first thing you should be checking out is Revelations 11. What does it say about the two witnesses, all right? If it says their bodies are laying in the street of Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified, and then they rise up the next day, if it was Gentiles and Jews all over the world, tell me, how can they be laying in the streets of Jerusalem, all right? They're not, because it's talking about two people, okay? That is deception. And what does that deception do? Because one thing leads to another. It takes you right into, well, if there's powers and stuff, maybe that means that we do go into the tribulation and God's protecting us. No, now you've just got into a mid-trib idea that's total nonsense. You see how that happens so quickly and so fast? Whereas if you look at it like, no, they're two men, all right? then you know that it has nothing to do with us. We're already out of here. It goes back to the power of the Jews because that's who God's dealing with. And he divinely protects him and he's refining him through the tribulation, picking off the bad ones and bringing out his remnant from them, okay? All right? And then it makes perfect sense. I have not watched that and I'm not going to because it's nonsense what they're doing. I think I saw a little part of it and only made it in like a few minutes before I was like, what they're teaching is completely false and it's totally obvious they're missing this spot, all right? This is what reading the Bible and training up does. And then you're not coming back to me with questions. You know, you already have the answers, and you're your own powerhouse. And this is what I want for you, okay? Because the deception right now is just off the charts strong. And I believe I'm going to talk about aliens again. I've talked about them several times, but I'm going to talk about them again in the next video, okay? I'm going to lay it down exactly what they are, where they come from, what exactly an alien is, all right? An organic skin suit for a Raphaim Nephilim spirit to inhabit and put on a gigantic deception. And I'm going to break it down and why this information is this and how it's true and where it came from, okay? And I've talked about it before, but I'm going to do it again, all right? All right? Take the power back. Don't be a slave to once a week. Walk with God daily. Become a powerhouse. Read your Bible. You don't have to go in there, all right? Just like my aunt and uncle, you know, I told them, you don't have to go there. I'm not doing that. You feel the Holy Spirit in me when you're talking. Why do you light up? Why do you feel this joy? I'm like, do your friends ever talk about the rapture? Oh, no, they don't really believe it. A couple old folks, they're on canes. They're going to be in the tribulation, they think, and so they're going to be leading people. They can hardly walk as it is. What they're going to be doing, legends and backflips during the tribulation. This is delusions of grandeur and nonsense. What it really is those old people are still holding on to the things of the world even to their last breath. They won't let it go. You have to let go of the world. When it's time, take it. Get out of here. We've done our part. This is the time that we play and we fight, all right, that we earn what we're going to have for eternity, all right, and we go for masteries, all right, what Paul teaches, all right. This is our time to do that, and it's running out. Don't waste it. Keep fighting, okay? This is so important, okay? And I want you guys to get this. And, you know, it really is. It's that close. Don't listen to what any stupid pastor is saying about how the tribulation, the rapture are years off. Just don't even look at it. Or we don't want the rapture, right? You just let him go and you walk away and you don't look back because you don't need it. You've got God. You can have it. All right? If my channel goes down or if I go away, all right, are you self-sufficient to continue this on? That's what I want you to be, self-sufficient. All right? Because I don't plan on doing this forever. I'm trying to teach you what you need so you can go out there and be the very best, okay? All right? Now take this and use it. All right? God bless. I'll catch you next time.
Neo, sooner or later you're going to realize, just as I did, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking.